right, hey everybody, welcome back to the Bullhucker podcast. I'm Moose Lundstrom.
And I'm Densia Kudrin.
My co-host from episode 10. God, what episode were you?
I don't even remember. In the beginning.
Yeah,
it was in the fall.
Because I always talk about how I know people on this. And Densia, you and I have been friends a long time.
A very long time. We go way back.
Yeah, we do go back.
Yeah.
Well, you don't remember half of it because it was mostly drinking.
Like what? Like 6 months?
Yeah.
That's all we remember.
And our guest today, Alison Gorrell.
Hi. Sorry, I'm a little quiet.
That's okay.
Don't know what to say.
So Dency and I are attention whores, so sometimes we'll just start talking. We get it. I totally understand it. So you two kind of may know each other. You said it's a disconnect almost. Like,
well, we don't know. We're still trying to figure it out. You know, I feel like it's going to be a couple weeks from now, and we're going to make the connection. And
it's always after you see someone, and then you go, "Oh, that's where it was."
Yep.
Right.
It's after the fact.
Yep.
But I would feel like I would remember such a unique and beautiful name.
Oh, well, thank you.
You're welcome.
It comes from an easy girl. We learned that on her episode.
I was named after Densia. That's the funny part. Yeah. So
I haven't listened to all of them, so my bad.
Yep. 3 Densias exist that I know of.
Who's the third? Oh, okay.
Spicknell.
Spicknell, and then the one you're named after, both of you.
Yeah.
The hooker or whatever she was.
That beautiful soul.
The one who thought Larry Hall thought was just okay, right?
Yep.
My mom swears I was named after a song and not after my dad, who is an Allen, and then my grandfather was Albert. But my mom, she's not. Nope, that's not what she was named after. She was named after a song.
What song?
Yeah.
It's actually named Allison. It's a really old song. I think it's from like the 60s or 70s, maybe, before I was born.
I think your mom might be reaching on that one. I think you might be named after your dad.
I've actually heard this song. I worked in a grocery store, and I had a gentleman. He's like, you're named after a song, right? I was like, I've heard that, but I've never heard the song.
Right.
Okay, giving away my age a little bit. I am a little old. He brought it in to me. He had recorded it on a cassette tape and brought it in for me to listen to.
Nice.
Who sings it?
I can't remember.
We
It's
don't know
been
any.
so long.
Okay.
But look it up. It's Allison. There's a song out there, I guess, with my name.
It's a great name.
Thanks.
Should be in a song.
And the reason you and I know each other, we're on the city council together.
Well, that's not the reason that we know each other.
No, I DJ'd your wedding.
You DJ'd my renewal.
Renewal.
Yes, my 10-year wedding renewal, which coming up here soon will be, we'll be at 14 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes.
So, you DJ'd the 10-year renewal, but I think you've known us since we moved here, because I think you know my husband.
I might. We were talking earlier about how we forget things so easily, and people... For me, it's a lot of drinking. I've met someone for the first time 3 or 4 times. You know what I mean? So
You get a second chance at a first impression, right?
right,
Yeah.
right.
Sometimes we need that.
And I might have known your husband. I mean, he's been in the military. He's been a cop. He's been a fireman. He's been everything. So
What does he do?
So currently he is a volunteer firefighter with the brush fire department. And then he's actually going to NJC using his GI Bill right now. But he was with the sheriff's office for 5.5 years.
Okay.
He is set to retire this year from the military after 21 years of service.
Good for him. Bravo.
Yeah.
So he goes to war, fights crime, runs into a burning building. That kind of crazy shit.
No,
Every day
no joke.
stuff.
Running into a burning building. We've had a couple fires recently, and he's been there.
Right.
He missed one of them because he was taking care of our son doing a 4-H thing and didn't hear the call. But other than that, he's going. He left actually at 6 o'clock this morning for a car accident. So
That's crazy.
Yeah, I don't think I'm that brave.
I'm very proud of him.
Yeah, you
should be.
I
Yeah.
mean, that takes a lot of courage.
I boast on him a lot. He's actually done 5 tours. So
Wow.
Yeah, I'm pretty proud of him.
As am I. That's awesome.
That's awesome. He's a good dude. Quiet, though. Very quiet.
Very quiet until you get to know him. Or he drinks.
And drinks.
You give him some alcohol, he'll open right up.
And he'll do the worm I saw on the dance floor. He
Yes,
just,
he
Really?
on command.
Mad
yes.
respect. I don't know the man, but I already like him.
We went
That's
to
good.
his cousin's wedding this last summer, and our younger son and him did the worm on their wedding dance floor, too. It was pretty awesome.
It's the Gorrell family dance.
I'm not going to be doing it.
We'll see, Allison.
See, I always think about the worm, like if you get down there and you start doing it, like if you had a full stomach, like if you just got done eating.
I would puke
Sounds
everywhere.
like a recipe for disaster.
I mean, it could be worse come out the other end. You know what I'm saying?
That's gross.
Well, it is gross, but
do you see a lot of worms when you go to DJ?
I don't see a
people
lot
do
of
that?
worms. No.
It's a thing of the
I
past.
see that weird damn dance now where the kids do the.
Oh, that flossing.
The flossing.
Was that the floss?
Yeah.
I hate it.
And see what's even crazier, Densia, is my husband is 6'4". So him
That's
doing
a lot to worm.
Exactly.
That's a lot to work with. Matthew with your noodle ass. My God. long and
just.
yes.
Yeah.
It looks cool when they're that tall, though, because they really get that full arc, and
Right.
it looks cool.
I've seen some pretty crazy. I've actually DJ'd quite a few weddings, both your daughter's weddings.
Yes,
actually,
you did.
You know?
Yeah, yeah.
I talk about Cabri's wedding all the time because it's my favorite. No offense to Chloe, that was a beautiful wedding. Cabri's was fun though because it was eventful.
Oh, that's one way to put it, eventful. Yeah, that is one way to put it.
We'll tell you the story later. I love you, Cabri. We won't tell you on this.
Yeah.
But I was saying, Allison, the unique thing for you is you have one L in your name.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the only person I've ever known that, because whenever I have to call Allison, I type in ALL and I'm like, where is her? Stupid, where she's missing an L.
It's really fun, too, because with my married name, I have 2 L's in my last name.
Oh, really?
So it just throws people.
Yeah.
My dad said I'm an Allison, not an Allison. That's what he
Ooh,
said.
I like it.
Are you supposed to be Allison?
No.
Okay.
He was very adamant that I only have 1 L in my name because he's Allen, Allen, and he didn't like the 2 L's.
I got you.
All
So-
in is what I would think.
I'm a junior as well. My dad's a Larry, and which is weird because my mom hates him. So I don't know how that.
You're Lawrence.
I was Lawrence. Well, he's a Lawrence, so I'm
He's a
I'm
Lawrence.
a Lawrence Junior.
But you're a junior, not a second.
She was going to name me Lars for her whole pregnancy, and don't give me that. That would have been awesome.
I like it.
But Lars Lundstrom, that's way better. And Larry, I hate Larry. I hate my name so bad, you know.
I think names are kind of interesting too because, I'm married to a Matthew, and my mom had told me had I been a boy, she would have named me Matthew.
Okay.
So I was like, huh,
Really.
well, that's interesting.
Had I been a girl, my mom would have named me after my grandmother, Abrana.
Abrana.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's kind of cool.
That's a grandma name? Abrana.
My grandmother's name was Abrana.
Oh, I like it.
I
Do
like
you guys
it
like
too.
it? Every woman I meet likes it. Most
Yeah,
guys are like, wow,
I like
I
it.
would never hook up with an Abrana. I don't.
Because it's just so unique. It's just not something that you
Yeah.
hear.
It's
You
the
don't.
Hispanic female version of Abraham.
Oh, I was going with Aubrey.
Aubrey.
Yeah.
It'd be an AB probably.
Yeah.
That's what it would be called. Auntie AB.
You know, my dad's name was Larry.
Yeah, I know.
And obviously, and no boys in my family. And then, of course, then I had girls. And then now my daughter had our granddaughter, our first granddaughter. And her middle name, she was born right around the time my dad's birthday, and he's passed away now. And her middle name is Larian.
Oh, really?
Oh,
There
that's
you go.
really cool.
Salute to the Larrys.
Okay, so I'm going to bring back this fight real quick. So she's got a grandson who's got, I think, the greatest name ever. Allison, what do you like better? To be named Wilder or just Wild as a child? Wilder or Wild? What would you go by?
I would say Wilder because Wilder is wild is just a description.
Yes.
Wilder is a name.
See, you're crazy.
You're crazy. I guarantee when he's
crazy.
older, he doesn't go by Wilder.
Keep in mind, I have kids of my own. So
What's your son's name?
My oldest is Tyler, and then my youngest is Wyatt.
Okay.
Okay.
So Tyler, it actually means masonry or bricklayer. It's an Old English name, and it fits perfectly. He wants to be an architect. He loves buildings. He can build just about anything. Wyatt, I'm not even going to sugarcoat that. I named him after Wyatt Earp.
Okay.
Definitely.
Good. It's got some roots.
And he's got some spunk.
That's
Perfect.
His hair is currently the color of my mic.
Oh.
cool. He changes it quite a bit, doesn't he?
He does. I let him color it. The only rule is that it has to be professional. We don't have any of that kitchen bowl stuff going on in our house. So that's the rules. It has to be done professionally.
I had a mother who was awesome about that kind of thing. I got to do whatever I wanted. Like I had everything. The kid and play. I had all that shit. Like the big mushroom on top with the shaved heads. The thing that when I was 18 or 19, I got my hair braided, like all of it, like the little bitty braids everywhere. Yeah, I did. There was a big black woman who worked at the Supercuts. It took her like 2 hours to do it. She charged me $25, which was crazy because I worked at Wendy's at $6 an hour.
Yeah.
You know, so, but all the old men in town like, what's up, Bo Derek? And I'm like, who the fuck is Bo Derek? You know, but they all made fun of me. Like, what's up, Bo Derek? And yeah, so that was my.
How long did you leave that in for?
From, I don't know, 3 weeks or something.
That's it. Did you sleep in it?
Before I started doing this, like, wanted to scratch it so bad.
Oh.
No, you ever try to wash braids?
No. But I'm
the worst.
curious. Did you have to sleep in like a scarf?
No, man. I just let it go, man. It's and I have naturally curly hair, man. So it was the worst, dude. Like my friend Rachel, I went to prom with her senior year, and all her friends are like, "Did that dude really have his hair like that?" Like, dude, they shit all over me.
I gotta see a picture of this.
I'll bring you a picture.
Yeah,
I
one of these
actually
days.
really want to see a picture. I'm not quite that liberal with what they get to do at home. I mean, there's some restrictions. Their hair will never be longer than mine. But I'm also a military daughter, military wife. Like, there's some restrictions when it comes to boys. But fun colors, sure, why not?
Yeah. For sure.
See, it's I don't know. Mom was like, "It's your air, man. You go for it. You want to get, but they beat your ass in the street. That's on you, Larry. But nothing ever did."
I love braids. Like I think they're cool.
I'm gonna call both of you out because I know you're both old enough to have
Yeah.
the '80s hair. So don't start with me, okay? I don't guarantee
Yes.
you both
I'm
have that
actually-
peacock thing going on.
Yeah.
I'm actually not.
You never had the peacock, really?
Mm-mm. I was born in 83.
Oh my god!
Oh, you are a little bit younger.
Yeah.
You were conceived with someone who had a peacock haircut.
You were.
That's what it was.
Actually, so my mama is from the South, or was.
So she's real high hair.
I'm still learning to do the whole past tense thing. It's 6 years, but it takes time to
Sure.
learn to do the past tense thing.
Sure.
But yeah, she had the full, just this real high. She had the big hot rollers that she would use. Just gorgeous strawberry blonde hair.
Right.
And her hair was gorgeous.
Right.
And I like to joke, though, because her hair was red and my dad's hair is black. And I just joke that red and black make brown.
Yeah,
And that's how
right.
this came out.
There it is.
I saw a meme on Facebook today about Aquanet from the 80s. It's all Gorilla Glue in the 80s. And I'm like, that is no bullshit, man.
I
My
can't
sister
believe that
loves
Gorilla Glue
big
thing.
hair. Loves it. Like she still does. She still loves it. And so she always she teases it, and she always tells us, "Tease it to Jesus."
Paula?
Yeah.
You weirdo, Paula.
Tease it to Jesus.
That's
It's a
awesome.
Texas thing.
You were talking about your mom when you got here, that she had passed away and you were in her car and that you actually sometimes hear her.
Yeah, I do. And well, I inherited her car initially. So I used to drive a teal Escape. I was like one of only 2 in the whole county. And it was her car. And honestly, I swear to you, and my older son can vouch for this, she would change the volume in the car.
Real down or up?
Both.
Okay.
Just getting our attention. And it's interesting because when I'm driving, and I drive a lot because I used to commute to Keensburg, and then I also do DoorDash right now, so I drive a lot. And it's interesting because I always see red-tailed hawks that are really near to me. Like if you're not paying attention, you wouldn't know they're there. And I just feel her presence a lot, and I
So
totally
that's your
believe it.
sign of your mom is a red-tailed
Yeah.
hawk.
For me, because I always see a hawk, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of close calls that I've had on the road.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah, so I just pay attention.
Is there something that your dad, that you see that runs
Yeah,
to your dad?
yeah, the yellow butterflies. I
Really?
feel like everybody that's had somebody pass in their lives, there's always something, and ours is yellow butterflies. Yeah, so when you said that, I was like, I get it. Like, you just see certain things, and it reminds you of that person.
Right.
Yeah, well, there's been so many things that remind me of her, but butterflies are definitely a sign of the afterlife. Most people relate butterflies to someone that has passed because it's a sign of rebirth.
Right? And
So-
cardinals, too, right?
Yes, red cardinals.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well, look at me learning stuff.
My
You too.
aunt, still, most of my family on my mom's side, they all still live in Alabama. And my aunt, now, my mom, one of her sisters, and their brother have all passed away. And there's these red cardinals outside my aunt's house, and she's down in the sticks, down in Alabama. And there's these cardinals that keep shitting on her car. And she's just like, I'm going to shoot me some birds. And I was like, well, you know, Aunt Belinda, they're just there to visit you. They're
Right.
just coming to say hi. She's like, I don't care. I'll shoot them twice.
Right. That's funny.
You can't do that.
No, it's a curse.
Southern family's fun.
My grandfather, on my dad's side, he's whatever, but he's convinced that owls are witches, and they stole his brother when he was younger.
Ooh, Harry Potter stuff.
Kind of. I met my dad when I was 24 for the first time, so that's a whole different story. But we were at a family thing, and I'm pretty new to this family. I've been around for like 2 years, and I'm fresh. And we're at their house over in Pueblo, and Grandpa pulls out a shotgun and just fires it into the tree. I think I told the story already on this, but fires it into the tree, and everybody just goes back to eating their barbecue. And I'm like, Grandpa's just, he's killing the tree. And Dad's like, he thinks there's an owl up there, son. I go, that doesn't explain shit. Like, what's that supposed to mean,
Like, where's the rest of the story?
Yeah, he's like, he thinks they're witches and they're bad luck and they're going to steal the babies. I'm like, okay. Well, I'm glad I asked,
better owls than like bald eagles.
Yeah, and I didn't
Could
get
you
along.
imagine that?
I didn't get, yeah, to deport him because I didn't get along with that grandpa, so that'd been okay. You know what I mean?
Oh, you didn't like them.
No, I want to sit outside his window and go, "Whoo, whoo," so I didn't think he'd shoot at me. You know what I mean? Just to drive him crazy. So
That's funny.
it's weird, like the older stuff they believe in.
Yeah.
So
Well, Southern people in general, I mean, there was this one time that we had forgot something. We were leaving for a weekend trip, and my mom went back to the house, and because she had to go back, she gets out of the car and walks around backwards 3 times to undo the bad luck
Okay.
of having to go back. And I
Okay.
was like, okay.
wow.
And then one time a black cat crossed our path. she spit in the corner of the window 3 times, or she spit in it and then she drew an X 3 times. And I was like, Mama, what are you doing? Now, mind you, I didn't get to spend a lot of time with my mom when I was real little because my parents divorced early. So I'm learning all this as a teenager. There is one thing that she did that I still do, is if you accidentally spill salt, I will pour salt in my hand and throw it over my left shoulder.
Right.
I still do that because you spill salt, that's bad luck too.
See, I feel like there's too many rules in like superstition. And to me, it would make me very nervous. You know, for instance, 3 times I'd be like, well, crap, was it 2? Was it 4? Was it 3?
Right.
And then I'd just be afraid I'd curse it even more. Or like, what'd you say, left shoulder?
Left shoulder.
Well, what if you did the right? You know, like what happened?
You're just asking for it at that point.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, so there's a lot of rules with superstition.
There's only 2 superstitions that I actually follow.
Yeah.
I knock on wood. You know, if I say something,
yeah.
I always knock on wood. And if I go like to buy something or I see the number 666 somewhere, I will do everything in my power to get away from that number. You know what I mean? I have bought a lot of worthless crap at a grocery store because they're like 666. I'm like, well, I could use a tampon. That's, you know, thank
My
you.
husband jokes when he sees the 666 because 6 is his lucky number.
Really?
And then 7 is my lucky number. And together those are 13, which is also an unlucky number, but we see it as a lucky number.
Right.
It was so interesting too because after we got married, I don't have my diamonds on today. I have a Kalo band on. But in my diamond band set, I have 3 bands, and each one, we didn't know until after we bought them because we weren't paying that close attention. I just thought it was pretty. You know, you buy things because you thought they were pretty.
Yeah.
And it has 13 diamonds in it, and his does as well. I mean, the 13 has been so significant. So I don't believe in the bad numbers. I think there's always good numbers out there.
Put it on and twirl it like 7 times.
Yeah,
and go back 3.
You know, girl, if I could twirl it 7 times, I would. But in this heat, I can't even move this one.
Okay. Fair.
Wow.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I can't keep up with it.
Your family doesn't have weird superstitions?
I mean, I don't think so. Maybe they never told me.
We don't shoot at owls or anything.
You don't knock on wood. I think everyone knocks on wood.
Everyone knocks on wood.
Yeah.
You know, and you do this. Sometimes if you don't got wood.
Yeah.
Do you do that?
Oh, yeah. My head. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Okay.
Or the bottom half. You know what I'm saying? On the half. So clever. I'm so clever. And then I get
I'm here every night.
Yeah. Eat the fish. Yep, that's right.
Eat the fish.
So, welcome to the Bullhucker podcast. As I was saying, if you're brand new to this, I probably should explain this right off the bat. Actually, first thing I want to say is thank you to the Sands Theater and the Brush Chamber of Commerce for letting us do this here. It's super cool they let us use this theater because this is an old school theater. They're fixing it up. They're going to do, hopefully, we might do comedy shows here, movies, everything else, as soon as they get it all back up to ADA standards. So thank you very much for Brush Chamber of Commerce, Teresa Lake especially, for letting us do this. It's very cool of them.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yes.
Second of all, thebullhucker.com. So what we're doing, you can find everything on thebullhucker.com. This podcast is we bring a guest on. They tell 3 stories about their life. 2 stories are true. 1 is what we call the Bullhucker. It's a lie. It's a bullshit. It's not real. So, Allison, out of the 3 stories you've given us today, one of them is not real. It's the Bullhucker. Is it made up? Is it borrowed?
It's made up.
Okay, just made up. So I warned you earlier not to give us too much information, so you don't give it away, Carrie. So,
Calling somebody out.
Well, sometimes it's people. I guess that question does throw people at times because it's some people like the last episode with Brett. He's like it's 90% false, but 10% true. You know what I mean? Like just So it's made up. You know, it's made up. You're in the story. That's the 10%. Okay, I got it. So, all right. So it's made up. So the 3 stories we have are divine intervention, a biker and a shotgun, and broken baby. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Oh, those are good titles.
Yeah.
Thank you. I came up with them all by myself.
The titles are the fun part. Adam's going to come on here after this, and he's changed his titles. He told me today like 18 times. Like
He's thinking about it way too much.
well, because he's funny, so he's going for the knockout blow. He's going for the
Yeah.
titles. Are the titles the funnest part?
It really is too. I mean, doing the titles, especially because I'll preface with saying my stories aren't going to be funny. They're going to be kind of serious today. But even the titles, you're like, that's really going to make you think. Because divine intervention could be anything.
Right.
Could be anything.
An owl stealing babies.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? God coming down. Yeah, I mean, it's anything. So since Dence, you are cool enough to come join us today, I'm going to let you pick the first story.
Well, thank you. I think I'm going to have to go with Broken Baby.
Okay.
I like that.
All right.
Let's
I was
hear
like,
it.
that's a fun title.
It is a fun
works.
title. It's got me curious.
That's deranged as shit for both of you. I don't know.
Well, I think it's a mom thing.
Okay.
Yeah. It makes you curious.
It does. What breaks a baby?
Yeah. Lots of things, apparently. So broken baby. Now, as Larry said, my husband is military, so we have not lived in Colorado forever. I actually met my husband while he was stationed on my home island in Washington, and that's where we got married. That's where we had our kids, that kind of thing. Our youngest son, Wyatt, was not quite 2 years old, and he was freaking out screaming one day, and we could not figure out why. And of course, he's a baby, so he can't really tell you what's going on and what's causing all of this pain. We take him to the urgent care, which is on the military base, and they're like, we can't figure this out. We don't know why he's screaming. They gave my baby morphine, and he was still screaming.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was pretty gut-wrenching. And they thought that he had intussusception, which intussusception is when your small intestine telescopes into your large intestine. It's really bad juju. It's not supposed to happen.
So it goes inside of it. That's what.
Mm-hmm.
So okay.
It telescopes.
Okay.
So it looks like a telescope when it should be separate, and it telescopes. So because that facility couldn't handle it, they strapped his car seat with him in it onto an ambulance gurney and put him and I in an ambulance and sent us down to Children's, which where we're on an island. So the nearest Children's is Seattle, and that is approximately 2 hours when you're not driving with lights on.
Oh, wow.
Which we were. And I have motion sickness. So I'm sitting in the ambulance, right? Now, if you're sitting in an ambulance, the people in the back sit sideways.
Right.
So the motion's now side to side. Oh, they had to give me oxygen because I was about to puke everywhere.
Is he still screaming at this point, Allison? Like the whole ride? Has he settled down a little bit?
He's crying, but he's settled down. So he's a little bit calmer. He's really curious at this point of what's going on. You know, why are all these people? Why are we in this weird vehicle? All of that. And then we get down to Children's. Matthew, of course, was following behind in a different vehicle, had to make sure our older son was taken care of and, got that situated before coming down. And we're just waiting for answers. And they do x-rays, they do MRIs. And it turns out that he did have intussusception. And then he did have to have surgery on his abdomen. It was a very long time in the hospital, especially with a baby.
Yeah.
He's 2 or under, you said?
Just under 2.
Okay.
It was just rough. It was really, really rough.
Well, now what causes that?
I have no idea.
We don't know what happened.
And they couldn't tell you how it just...
Nope. They just said it just happens sometimes, and especially because they're so little, because they're growing, so everything's just kind of coming together and figuring out what it needs to do, and yeah, it was pretty rough.
That is scary.
So how long was he in the hospital for?
Just a couple days.
Really?
It's like an appendix, not quite the same day as an appendix, because appendix is the same day, but just a couple of days, and we got through it, and, now he's fine. Kind of. He's 12, so he's not really fine.
The red hair and the purple hair and
Yeah.
all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we had physical therapy for him this morning. His hips aren't growing the way they're, I guess it's normal, but one's higher than the other. And, I mean, he's had Sever's disease, which is when the tendons in their legs don't grow at the same rate as their bones. So it's basically like walking around with plantar fasciitis when you're 10.
Ugh.
So he had to wait for his tendons to catch up with his bones. So, I mean, the kid's giving me a rough ride.
Right.
Yeah, he sounds expensive.
You know what? Thank God my husband's in the military.
That's what you took out of that. It's like, how much was the copay? Son of a...
Oh, man.
Did you leave them there? I mean,
Like, we hit our catastrophic cap. We're good.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the scary thing,
That
though,
is
I think,
scary.
when they're that young. Like you said, they can't tell you what's going on. So, and he's just screaming bloody murder,
Yeah.
right? He's just...
You can't calm him down because you don't know what's causing the pain, so you don't know where to look, what to stop, what to give him.
This is a weird question, but when that happens, does it just happen like boom like that, or is it something did it telescope gradually, or did it just...
It was just kind of all of a sudden. We didn't really see it coming.
Wow.
And he's fine. Like, no.
Yep, he's fine.
Good. Okay.
Other than being 12.
Right.
I kind of want to strangle him. He's
Being a teenager.
been a rough day today.
And he's not your only child, though.
No, he's my youngest.
Right. And you have how many?
I have 2. So my oldest will be 20 this year.
So you already got out of the teenager with her, right?
Him.
Him. I
2
thought it was
boys.
her. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, Tyler. You told, okay.
Yeah.
Never mind. Sorry.
Although that's been a challenge too.
Right.
Oh my Lord. They think they know everything at this age.
Boys?
Yeah.
Don't they? What's up? Boom.
And girls are just bitches. They are so mean.
I'm
So
kind
mean.
of lucky though because my oldest is dating this girl and she's real sweet. They've been together for 2 years and she keeps him leveled out. So it's
Really?
yeah, it's really nice.
Does he still live around here?
They live in our house.
Okay, cool.
Have you seen rent prices?
No.
Good Lord.
Disgusting.
It's like, they can't. These kids, they both work full time. She's in college full time. I'm very proud of them. They're both fantastic, but they
Right.
couldn't afford to live out in the world.
Right.
Well, maybe there'll be some people that can get some housing in this town. I don't know. Wink, wink.
Wink, wink.
If only we knew some city council members.
It's a challenge, I think, in every town
Oh, for
anymore. I mean, Colorado's growing so quickly, so crazy. You know what I mean? People are coming in from California and offering $30,000 above asking price just because, you know, the houses are so...
And there's nothing. There's no houses.
No, nothing at all,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, it's frustrating. It's hard. But you know what? It gives the kids the opportunity to just kind of grow and to save as well.
Sure.
Are you familiar with the concept of a hope chest?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's lost on a lot of people my generation and below, which is crazy. Because I'm a Zennial, so I'm right behind Gen X and I'm right above Millennials.
I think you just made that word up. I'm not going to lie.
No, seriously. If you
Searching.
if you look it up, Zennial is a micro generation between Gen Xers and Millennials.
All right.
So we grew up with like a Gen X mentality, but we were teenagers as technology started to develop.
Sure.
So we kind of grew up with it, and so we're just kind of like our own breed of people. We're we have old-fashioned values, but we can survive in the new world.
Right.
Anyways, so the concept of a hope chest, I had talked to the kids about it and the fact that they didn't really have their own place yet. So what they're doing is every month they purchase a new item for when they are able to move out.
That's cool.
And so they have a corner in one of the rooms in the house, and that's where they put their items. And then when they move in, they'll have everything they need.
Yeah, Allison, too, if they're going to college, I mean,
Yeah.
that's fair. I mean, because, to go to college alone is expensive as all get out. I mean, it's not like, you know, doctor 2-year-old baby expensive, but it's still expensive. So, I mean, I would,
Right. No.
if I had a child like that, as long as you're going to college, dude, as long as you're giving it a shot.
If
with,
she's
you know,
going to college, my son doesn't want to go to college. It's funny because he wants to be an architect, but he does not want to go to college. He is one of those kids that is genius level smart. Like I actually just had a time hop, because if anybody uses the time hop app come up, I had actually had a time hop of his, like those state level testing scores. And you see this chart with these 3 different colors. You see the school district average, then you see the national average a little bit above that. And then way up here at the top is where my kid is.
Nice.
And he's always been that way. He was identified gifted in the 3rd grade. And he's so smart, but he does not do well in school.
Here's the deal, though. If she's going to school and he's not, what I would suggest, Allison, is get rid of him and keep her.
You know, I did always want a daughter.
Well, do they help with chores?
Oh, yeah.
Do they? Okay. So honestly, that's not too bad.
And they pay rent.
Yes. I had my second daughter, and her husband lived with us for a bit when they moved back. And honestly, I didn't hate it because they would take a turn cooking or mowing the lawn or whatever. And
It's almost like they're not there, though, because our basement, the way it's set up, they live down in the basement. They have like their own area. And we don't really see them except for when they're coming and going. But they pay rent, which is, you know, reasonable rent, not any of this ridiculous $1,400 a month for 2 bedrooms. Can
Right.
you believe that?
No, it's disgusting.
Oh. And so they pay rent, they help with chores, like they take out the trash, the recycling, the barrels to get them out when it's time for pickup. My older son mows the lawn.
Perfect.
She does the dusting, which is great because she likes it and I hate it. So that works out well.
yeah.
Those work out
Get
well.
little like door hangers, you know, for your room. So they.
Yeah, I see. What I don't like is I used to be the favorite brown guy in the family until Jamie showed up. Jamie.
And he's more authentic than you are.
He is way more authentic than I
Yeah,
am.
like he actually speaks the language.
I'm a vanilla bean. What do you want? You know what I mean? I do my
watered
best.
down, my friend.
I am watered down.
Yeah, yeah.
Vanilla bean.
I did the 23andMe where, you know, you send it in, they send you
I
back.
want to do that so bad.
You know what? They sent me the thing back, said, how many people spit in this thing? I mean, my God, man. Did your mom party at a United Nations concert? I mean, my God.
That's
I'm
crazy.
I'm not Irish or German. Everything else, I got a little skin in the game. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I'm super curious. I really want to do it because, you know, your family always tells you what you are when you're growing up and
Right.
you just go with it. And so I'm really curious if it's really true or not. And then I'm curious if I really want to know if it's true or not.
I got mine as a present from my mom for my birthday. She got it for my birthday. I'm like, hey, Mom, I'm not trying to be an asshole, but shouldn't you know this? I mean, is this a weird way of we finding out something I don't know? Is that what's going on here? So what do you think about that story, Dens?
I mean, I think it could be true. I think because it takes a certain kind of person to lie about your kids being sick. So I'm feeling yes on that one, just because I would be curious to live in your mind if it wasn't. And you could be like, I know, I'm going to tell him I had a sick kid. So
Right.
I'm feeling yes. I'm feeling that one's true.
I kind of believe it too, but here's the thing. It's hard to guess on the first story. You need two to kind of contrast with each other. So, all right. I liked it, though.
Yeah.
All right. Broken baby. I'm going to go with a biker and a shotgun.
A biker and a shotgun. So this is where I prefaced and said that we were going to get a little serious today and a little dark. I mean, serious, yeah, with your kid having surgery. This one's pretty dark, though. So bear with me. I'm an open book. I'm always happy to share about my life. For a biker and a shotgun. So to understand me a little bit, you would have to understand that my parents split up when I was young. One of my earliest memories of my parents is actually my dad throwing my mom through a window, my mom chasing my dad with a ceramic spoon. You know, the Campbell's soup trains, the big ceramic ones, it was one of those spoons. So a big spoon.
Fighting, like they're fighting.
Yeah. And so they split up when I was real little, and my mom moved to Washington, and I stayed in California with my dad. And then my dad met a woman who became my stepmother, and she had sons, and they became my stepbrothers. And that was not a great thing. They were very, very abusive to me. My stepmom would put her name on things in the refrigerator, and I wasn't allowed to have them, but my stepbrothers were. She was basically trying to force me into anorexia so that my dad would send me away to a camp so she wouldn't have to deal with me. So that was kind of rough. But the worst part about it was the younger stepbrother, who was 7 years older than me. So the abuse began when I was about 10. So that was a choice, a decision I never got to make for myself. That choice was taken for me at 10, and it continued for a couple of years. Now, what's interesting about moving with my stepmother, and we moved in with her, my dad knew the neighbor that she was next door to. His name was Sundance, and I will never forget this man. And I have a wedding photo of when my mom and my dad got married, right like a month before I was born. She's very pregnant, and they did that old-timey photo, you know, with the guns and the Victorian dresses and everything.
His nickname is Sundance, or that's his name?
I don't know his real name.
That's what they call him, the Sundance.
Yeah, I don't know if that's his real name or his nickname.
Okay.
And he's actually in the wedding photo standing next to my mom. Now, they all used to roll bikes together. I mean, my earliest memory, I was on the back of an Indian. Like, I spent a lot of time on motorcycles. Well, Sundance lived next door, and my stepbrother also was in martial arts, and he really liked to use me as a practice dummy. And he would chase me around and beat the hell out of me, and it was pretty bad. I mean, if we took a full body x-ray, I'm really curious what we would find.
Right.
Well, this last time, I managed to get away out of the house. And the parents weren't home. The parents were never home. I managed to get away, and I ran out the front door, and he tackled me right onto the concrete pavement. And he flipped me over, and he sat on top of me. My arms are skinned up because I had I'd braced my fall. And he had flipped me over, and I had my hands up protecting my head, and he was hitting me. And then, you know, that sound that they say is the most unmistakable sound in a house? Do you know what that sound is?
The click of a shotgun?
The racking of a shotgun.
Right.
And that is what I heard. I heard the racking of a shotgun. And Sundance was standing next to me with the shotgun probably 4 or 5 inches from my stepbrother's head. And he said, if you ever touch her again, I will fucking kill you.
Wow.
Wow.
My stepbrother conveniently moved out about a month later, and I have not seen him since.
Really?
So how old were you at this period?
At that point, I was about 12.
And so he's like 19?
Yeah.
Wow.
So he ended up moving out, and at 15 is when I finally got to re-meet my mom, and I left California at 15, and I never looked back.
Wow.
I don't speak to my dad. I haven't for many, many years.
Is he still married to her?
He is.
Was that a problem with them? Did the story ever come up to them that
My
there was a shotgun pulled on him?
stepmom, I don't know if that part ever did. My stepmom eventually found out and called me a whore at 11 years old and said I brought it on myself.
I'm sorry, Allison.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Unless that story's the false one, then I'm taking my sorry back later, just so you know. So we're clear, okay? No, that's a horrible.
I'm in.
Yeah.
I am.
I mean,
Wow.
that's You told that story very well.
Now, have you ever had any like inkling to like reach out and like say anything to them, or no? Is the past in the past type of deal?
I'm pretty sure that my aunts keep tabs on me on Facebook and then relay that information to my dad, which is fine. I love my aunts. I spent my summers with my aunts. They protected me. My dad had 3 sisters, no brothers. And so I spent my summers in Lancaster and Palmdale, California, and they took care of me. They were fantastic, and I learned how to shave my legs. I learned how to be a woman because of these women. So I don't speak to my dad. I had called him when I was getting married to my now husband, because that's my second marriage. And I said, I would love it if you would come, but you have to leave your bitch at home. Just like that. I was not having it. Right. And he, of course, didn't come. My mom ended up giving me away, which is perfectly fine. Right. And then we moved out here, and we've been here for 10 years. The first year that we were here, my husband, mind you, was still in the military. And he had a job, and I was looking for work because we had just moved out here. And he said that my dad said that my husband's job wasn't anything, and we weren't worth anything. And then I found out that my stepbrother and his then children, because this has been years now, were living in my dad's home, and he was helping to take care of them, but he had never ever once sent my sons anything, a birthday card, nothing.
Now, are you an only child?
I am.
So you're the only child from your dad's side, from your dad?
I'm the only child from my mom. My dad had 2 boys in a previous marriage that are many years older than me. And I'm assuming he did the same thing to that woman that he did to my mom, because he came home from work one day and they were all gone.
Oh, wow.
She packed up the boys and left. We found out many years later, while I was still living in California, that one of the boys had been killed in a car accident.
Wow.
See, that ups the ante, though, when an accident like that happens, when a child dies. Sometimes that will tear a family apart. You know what I mean? It just...
This happened years later.
Oh, okay.
Years later. And so I think I still have a half brother out there that I've never met, but I don't really know. But my mom was told she could never have kids, and she got pregnant with me at the age of 32, which is very unheard of in the 80s. Right. So, I mean, it was kind of a big deal, and then she had me, and I'm the only one.
Right.
Wow. Wow.
That's crazy. We have kind of the same, not the same story by any means, but my dad, I'm my mom's only son, you know. I don't know how many I got on his. I know the ones I know, you know, we always laugh about it, because Mom swears to God he told her when he came back from Vietnam that he's got a son over there. Like, I'm not the oldest, like, you know, Untao or whatever is the older son, you know, so like, you know, so, and I asked about it one day, I'm like, Dad, do you have any Vietnam kids when you were over there? He's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I go, yeah, come on, guy, you know, if I'm not the oldest, he goes, you're the oldest. I go, okay.
Was your mom and dad ever married?
No,
were they married?
No,
it was just
no.
They had the miraculous conception.
That's
and
right. That's
yeah,
right.
That's
that's
all
right.
They needed.
They had the ugly baby. They're like, okay, who's taking this? Back to you, Mary Lundstrom. He's yours. Oh, woo,
ugly babies. My dad said I looked like Yoda when I was born. I've seen my baby pictures. I did not look like Yoda.
Oh, I'm sure you didn't.
I have a little bit of Japanese in me, and you can tell my baby picture. I look like a Japanese baby. Seriously.
Really?
Yeah. Like, Mom's got one of me, and I'm, you know, yeah. I'm like, who's the baby? She's like, you, dude. I'm like, wow.
I was just like,
ew.
I had red hair. Just like my mama when I was born. And after it got done being red, then it went blonde. I was a towhead for a couple of years, and then it started to go brown, and it's been brown ever since. And I've always had these freckles and this pale skin. So my mom always called me Punky Brewster.
Yeah, Brewster. That's a great name.
I've always had black hair, and it started going gray. Those are the two I've had. So
I'm really lucky. Most of my friends, I'm not calling anybody out, but most of my friends all have to dye their hair at this point, and this is my natural hair color.
Really?
You know what I did? I couldn't keep up with it because the gray was getting so bad. So I started just kind of, I'm like progressing into just being gray through here. Mm-hmm. And just embracing that, but not all over gray.
It looks
I'm
good.
not ready
That's
for that yet, you know.
So you see how straight my hair is? My hair is naturally this straight. I wake up, it's like as straight as, you know, a stick. And I saw this model once in the store, and she had the most beautiful silver straight hair. And I said, I'm going to be her one day. So when that silver hair comes in, I'm just going to embrace it.
Braid it.
When I first got on city council, I don't know, I've never dyed anything in my life, you know, so I buy the little mustache dye kit, and I'm going to dye my beard, my mustache. One thing I did not realize was it was going to dye my skin black. So I went to that meeting in blackface, essentially. Like, I was scrubbing I was scrubbing my face like I just got done eating dirty ass. It was horrible.
Did you use like hair dye or like just for men type
Just
shit?
for men. Scrubbing like, oh, please. Oh, Jesus,
What
come
do you
off.
do? Do you comb it in or do you just like...
They got like a little like weird comb. And you just,
Have you seen Bad Boys 2?
yes.
There's a scene in there where he's doing it for his buddy who's laying there.
Okay, I
You should
need to
watch
see
it.
That's...
I sat there and nobody noticed, or they didn't say anything. It's like, do you see what Larry did? I mean, funny's funny, Larry, but
I picture you in this really serious meeting and just like black dripping down.
You need to come to city
table.
council. We're not all that serious.
Okay.
yeah, no, that's what's happening. Yeah, so
we
that
get
day.
along. We get along really well in
Yeah,
city council.
yeah,
So
it's a good
Good.
council. But yeah, no, I was.
he's like, I'm just gonna
I'm
cover my
pondering
face.
all night long, you
Yeah,
guys.
yeah.
I don't know. I'm thinking a lot.
Yeah, so I said, screw it, gray it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
embrace it.
Yeah, was it Loranda? I can't remember what she told me. She told me a way to get away from that, though. I'm gonna have to call Loranda and ask her, put Vaseline or something on this. I can't remember what she said, but she's like, it won't, you know, it won't give you
I think it's
blackface.
peroxide.
Dumbass. Maybe it was. I can't remember.
Peroxide
totally
will bleach
blonde.
your hair.
You look like the reverse, like Eminem.
In the '90s, I almost went blonde. Dude,
Oh, that would be weird.
I had blue contacts. Yeah, I don't know why.
I couldn't imagine you as a blonde.
Oh, boy.
Know you anymore.
Dude,
First you got the braids, now you got the blonde.
I'll have to find the picture of the braids.
Did you have like colored contacts? Is
Oh, I
that
had
what
blue.
this
Yeah, I had blue contacts. Yeah, I tried it all, man.
Sounds
like,
sick.
Oh, dude.
Overalls. Did you have overalls?
Of course, the shorts ones.
All I can think right now is crisscross, crisscross.
Yes.
Make a jump.
Yeah.
Asked me if I had them both strapped. No, I did not. Only the one.
Yeah. Only losers would do that.
Only losers, but
Oh,
my
God,
goodness.
that is funny.
I remember I had overalls in Pueblo that I used to work in sometimes, and I kept thinking, man, these are comfortable. When I'm a fat old man now, I should go buy some because I was like, man, these are great.
They're coming back.
I'm gonna go buy some.
Mom jeans, like all that crazy stuff is coming back. I don't get it.
What
yeah.
are mom jeans?
Mom jeans? Oh, come on. Like in the 90s, right?
Yeah, the
90s.
90s.
Real high-waisted jeans. And then
They
like,
literally
makes
go
your
up
butt
to your
look like
bell
it's
button.
No, I don't like those.
Yeah.
Too much.
No, I don't.
They
need
are
those.
coming back. My teenage daughters wear them.
Like
I
the
s-
pleats. They got the pleats.
Yes, yes.
Well, you got bell bottoms coming out too, so you've got two
Oh, I'm
different
about
types of
the bell
clothing.
bottoms.
Yeah, you got two
All
different
of,
types.
Bring
of them.
back the hippie stuff.
The
Okay.
hippies and the 90s are all coming back at the
Yeah.
same time. I'm
I think
like,
the bell bottoms have tried once or twice to make it come back. They're not getting into that club anymore. That's just not happening.
I've had a pair of clogs in my closet for, I don't know, 25 years now, and I can't get rid of them.
Really?
Like wooden clogs.
it's
you
just
know?
whatever they say, you know. It's like you always hear it. Just hang on to it. It'll be back in
Yep.
trend eventually.
Yep.
I'd like to get some Janko jeans back because they were nice and baggy. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Oh my goodness.
I love
those
baggy jeans.
things.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It was so funny because I used to be a figure skater. I figure skated on roller skates, and you couldn't wear Jinko jeans. Like, that's a good way to die because you'll get caught right up in your wheel and you'll just eat it.
You figure skated on roller skates.
Yes.
So a mixture of like some Tanya Harding and roller derby type stuff. Is that what I'm picturing?
So you figure skating like ice skates, so Tanya Harding, of
Okay.
course, but on roller skates. So
Okay.
That sounds hard as hell.
Yeah, it does. I can't
it
even
is.
shoot the duck.
It was so funny because it's
Shoot
been
the
so long since I've been on skates. But I was like, oh, so I still have skates because that's like my life. And so I put on a pair of skates and we went to the skate park. My husband was on a scooter and then our son was on his new skateboard. And I could hear him talking to his friends, my son. And his friend goes, who comes to the skating rink or the skate park on roller skates? And I skated up, spun around him in a couple circles. And he's like, oh.
And you were like, I do, bitches.
Yeah, pretty much. I can't do
You punch
any
that
of
child.
I can't do
Yeah.
any of the jumps that I used to do because my body and the nerve disorders, I just can't handle it. But I definitely can get around on a pair of skates.
Every time I hear about skates, I think about that story that you always told about the guy skating under the moose and like slicing it.
Oh yeah,
slicing-
Ben. Rest his soul. But yeah, Ben. He was the guy I
It's the
worked
biggest
with.
bullshit that story. That is your bullhucker. The best
It
one.
was a guy named Ben I worked with, and God love Ben. He was the guy who always had the big tall tale stories, you know,
Mm-hmm.
to a point, Allison, where you're like, you know, I'm not stupid, right? I don't believe this. So
But tell me more. I'm in.
yeah. So the story she's referring to is he lived in Alaska for a long time, and he had rollerblades, And he was rollerblading down the sidewalk one day. I was just hauling ass. He was doing like 40 miles an hour, whatever he told me he was going. And a moose walks in front of him, moose crossing across the sidewalk. So what he does is, because he's got a Bowie knife attached to his hip, because that's where you take rollerblading. You take, a sword,
Yeah.
So he said
Well, it is Alaska.
It is Alaska. So that's why the moose was there. And if you've ever seen a moose, they're massive. You know what I mean? They're like 20 feet tall. So he slides like he's going into home base, right? Pulls out the buoy and just slices the moose right down the middle, gets up and I'm like,
skates on out.
I'm like, you just sliced the moose and
I don't believe that for 1 second.
Oh no, he was like, yeah, he got in my way. I'm like, oh, well, there you go. He's also the guy who told me he camouflaged his car so good one time he lost it for 3 days. God rest his soul. He's no longer with us.
I love those people. I like to be this person. Like, wow, good for you. That's cool.
He wouldn't tell me the Bruce Lee story. He told everybody else at work. He says, he was in a bar one time. He met the Bruce Lee, not the dude who owns the laundromat down the street. The Bruce Lee, the master of Jeet Kune Do.
Yeah.
And he got him to back down from a fight. So I looked into it. Ben was born in 1968, and Bruce Lee died in 1972. So I'm like, Ben, maybe I kept saying, like, I'm a huge Bruce Lee fan, dude. I love Bruce Lee. Tell me the story. Because I wanted to call him out so bad. Be like, maybe he backed down because you were 4 and he didn't want to beat you. That's
a good reason.
Maybe the master of Jeet Kune Do wasn't going to kick a toddler. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I didn't know him like
Baby
you knew
boss.
him. And if you're 4 at a bar, I mean, wow. It was Alaska.
Oh, that's funny.
That's funny.
That's right.
Wow.
I thought you were talking about the online skates. Did you ever do those, the inline skates?
See, I don't like the inline skates because I don't think that they provide enough ankle support. I've been pretty anti-inlines. I don't like rollerblades. And the higher the boot, the better, because then you get more ankle support. But yeah, I don't like inlines.
Now, would you roller derby?
I would love to roller
You
derby.
would like to just.
They started it in
Eat some-
Washington, in my hometown, right before we moved, and I was
Yeah.
like, oh, because I'm the perfect height, because I'm a short 5'4", but I'm built like a brick shit house, and I can mow some people
Now, have you
over.
thought about your roller derby name? I know you
No,
have. I know
haven't.
you have.
I
Don't tell me.
haven't. I really
No?
haven't. No. I figured I'd let someone else pick it.
All in.
Oh,
All
yeah.
in, Allison.
All in Allison.
Man, I could take out some serious aggression. So my husband's actually a Krav Maga instructor because he can teach martial arts for Krav Maga is a hand-to-hand combat that's taught to law enforcement officers.
Right.
And I spar with him for fun. He's 6'4" and 215 pounds.
My friend Aubrey that I brought up in the last podcast, she used a little thing when tequila makes her want to kill people. She's tough as nails, but she was a roller derby for years.
Oh, I would love to do it.
And I went and watched him one time, and I was like, "Holy shit!" Like, like these chicks just kick the shit
Is
out
there
of each other.
blood and like they actually like beat each other up?
and they're like, "Hey, Dart," like
And I wouldn't be able to do it now, though, unfortunately.
She's done it. She's 2 years older than me. I'll be 46 next month. So I mean, maybe she's 47. Anyway,
Is the idea of it to see how many times you get around without like just giving the absolute shit kicked out of
here's
you?
the deal. I didn't ask for the rules or regulations or
What is
what's
the
the point of this? Watching women beat the shit out of each other. That's that's all it is.
I
man.
honestly don't know the rules either right now. I wouldn't be able to do it anymore since I've had brain surgery. I wouldn't be able to do it, but God, I would love to.
Well, you know what you could, and then just have like special like rules for you only. Like you get a hit, they can't hit you back. It actually sounds really good.
Like the red shirt for a quarterback in practice. I get that. Like you can't touch Allison. Yeah, that won't get you out. You know?
Yeah, no, that would be interesting, but I don't think I would want to. I'm not going to be special that way.
That's fair.
But I get some aggression, and when I'm having my good days, when I'm not filled with pain, then I spar with my husband. My 12-year-old has taken to sparring with me because he's only 2 inches shorter than me.
Right.
So he thinks he can take me. He cannot take me. You would think when he watched me take his older brother off his feet from mouthing off that he would know he can't take me, but
Right.
you know, they
I will
say
beat the shit out of you.
oh yeah, for sure. The worst mistake a son can ever make is thinking he can cuss at his mom.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
My older son learned that.
Yeah.
But you know what they say, the shorter you are, the closer to hell you are. So I'm a little crazy sometimes.
I don't know it says that, but I'm going to from now on. So
I like it.
my grandmother was like 4 foot tall. She was a Hispanic grandmother, and she would hit me when I was sleeping or I was laying down. That's when she'd come at me, you know what I'm saying? Because I outweighed her by 200 pounds, you know what I mean? But that's
Is
what
this
she.
your mom's mom?
Yeah. And mom's like a a freaking basketball player compared to my grandmother. She was little, but she was tough. Like you were saying, my friend Ace, God rest his soul, came over. She used to feed people all the time. You know, she's that Mexican grandmother. You know, like I'd wake up and my friends were eating breakfast, and I'm like, some of that in my eggs. And like, you don't eat it; they're chunky. But anyway, Ace had said the F word, so she walked over to him all nonchalant and just bitch slaps him. She slapped him. I mean, she lit him up, right? And he looks at me, and I just keep eating my eggs because I want to help, but I don't want to get involved. Cause,
I see nothing.
you know, yeah, I'm like, that's why I don't say the F word. I like the F word, but
my older son, he's allowed to cuss around me. It doesn't really bother me so much. The rule, though, kind of, and it's an unspoken rule, but when we do have conversations about it, it's never at someone. My husband and I don't even cuss at each other. Like, we'll cuss in conversation, but never at a person. Cussing at a person in anger, especially, it's so wrong for everyone involved. So I'm pretty lax with the language.
I gotta ask, how does that work? Like, I feel there's a fucker in the room, and I feel that it means, I feel that it's looks like you.
So, like, as an example, I'm like,
Terrible.
I'm so fucking pissed at you right now. Get your ass out of this room. Now, I'm not calling you a fucking asshole. That's the difference, because that's calling you a name.
Okay.
I'm using it as an adjective. Get the fuck out of this room.
Wow, that would take some special. I would have to go in training for that one.
I just,
That
it's
sounds hard.
well, it's kind of like the southern women. My family's all southern women. They're crazy.
Oh yeah.
They're crazy.
They're crazy. And so, like, my son's friends, my older son, apparently his friends are mostly afraid to come to the house because they're like, your mom will kill me. They're like afraid to misstep, and they're always so polite when they come into the house. But I feed them, and it's always a safe place. The kids have always known that if they ever needed
Right.
to come there, they can, and they
Right.
do sometimes. But he's at the same token, my son's like, my friends are afraid of you. I'm like, I didn't do anything.
A little bit of fear is okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're like, I want that
Yeah.
mom on my side.
You weren't that mom, were you, Dance?
Well, no. Yes and no. The only thing, I mean, my oldest daughter, man, she liked to party. God, does she like to party? And it's like she got good grades. She did sports. She did everything okay, but she liked to party. So we kind of went through a rabbit hole with that thing. And I'll never forget one time. She was supposed to be at her dad's house that weekend, and then I had found out that he was gone. He was out of town, and I didn't know that. So I thought, man, I'm going to go up and I'm going to check on her. And I walked in the back of the house. It was kind of like everybody comes in through his house in the back.
Sure.
And I walked in, and there's all these teenagers in the kitchen just having shooters. And I was there for a long time. Nobody even saw me. And finally, I was pissed. And I was just like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding? Are you fucking kidding? I was so mad. And I had took like a shot glass and I threw it. And that's the only time everybody said, I'm kind of scared of your mom. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I was so mad.
See, mom was not mom. Because my grandmother was around. We lived with my grandparents, so it was like I'm gonna tell your grandmother. I'm like, let's not get crazy. Let's not, let's not get the little bean involved because you're fucking mean.
I had one grandmother that would throw things at you, pans, rocks, shoes,
Right.
whatever she'd get her hand on. That was the southern grandmother. And then my dad's mother, she'd make you go pick your own switch.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Grandmothers
Oh,
were
I don't
terrifying.
like that. That sounds terrible.
Oh, it is terrible.
You can like show up with like some flimsy little thing.
You should make you go pick another one, or she
like
gets to
you
pick.
mean to get spanked with?
Yeah.
You're better as a pick of the biggest log you can find that she has the hardest time swinging. The little ones, like the little wet ones, you mean those would hurt even worse,
Well,
man.
my grandmother, I'm not sure on my dad's side if she was first or she was actually born in Germany. I'm not sure if she was first generation American or not, but she was a German woman, Ada.
Okay. No said there.
She spoke German fluently. She was terrifying. She was
Yeah.
probably only 5'4", and even when you're little, that's still towering and terrifying.
But I think the thing is with German, even when you're being loving in German, it sounds aggressive as shit.
I love you.
Like, that means I love you. It's like, that don't sound like I love you. That sounds like you're going to tear some shit up,
Am
It's
I
hilarious.
crying?
As long as my kids always know that they can come to me, though, I think their worst fear, especially my oldest, you can kind of see it. His thing that he is afraid of most is disappointing me.
Oh.
Yeah, so I mean, he knows he can call me. He has called me. He's like, "Mom, I need you to
That's
come
what
get
we
me."
say, You say, I'm not mad at you. I'm just disappointed. And that'll crush anybody's soul.
Now, if they do some stupid shit, I'm coming after their ass. And I've
Right.
come, like, they were down at the Riverside Park in Fort Morgan, and this kid came swinging at my kid. My kid tore him up, but my kid kind of got hurt a little bit, too. And I get there, excuse me, and the paramedics are already on scene. Cops are already on scene. And they're putting my kid into the back of an ambulance because we think he's got a broken orbital bone. And I turn around and I'm like, you get home before I call your mother. You take that car home before I call your mother. And I've already spoken to your mother, so get your ass in the car. And they're like, oh, shit.
The snitch is here.
I wasn't the snitch. They're like, oh, why did it have to be that mom that came? It couldn't have been your mom. Your mom's cool. Why did it have to be Tyler's mom?
Right. We had a friend. I won't say the family, but his mom was cool with us drinking and coming to the house as long as one of us was sober to drive. As long as someone was sober, she was like, we're cool, But she'd always tell me, I don't need Mary Lundstrom calling me. I don't want to hear it. Okay, I don't want Mary Lundstrom calling me. I don't want to hear her shit. So don't you dare. I never did. I never snitched on her, man. Did you have fun over there? I'm like, yeah, Mom. We played Nintendo all night.
His mom's real nice.
I Super Mario like a son bitch, Mom. I'm the king,
I love it when my
Everybody has
kid
those
thinks I
friends.
don't know what he's doing
Oh.
at his friends' houses. I love that. That kind
Right.
of gets me. And like now that he's almost 20, he's like, oh, yeah, because he'll slip. And he'll be like, oh, you probably didn't know that. I said, honey, what you think I didn't know and what I know are two different things.
I know it all.
All right. Well, we got one more story.
All right.
Divine intervention.
Divine intervention. So, as you know, we moved here from Washington. In 2006, a huge windstorm ripped through Washington state. It actually was so bad that it was ended up being declared a national disaster area. We were so trailers are really common. Like trailer houses, mobile homes are really common out on the rock because it's a rock. So you can't really get stick-built homes or things
Right.
with basements because it's just not possible. If they do, it costs a lot of money. So we were living in a double wide, and we lived way out north of town, out by the back gate of the base. Excuse me. And it was 2006, storms coming through, power gets knocked out to the house. Our younger son isn't born at this point. Our older son had preschool. And I was like, okay, well, maybe the preschool still has power. So I leave to take him to go to the school to get, to see if the preschool is open. I lost my train of thought. Sorry. And then the preschool didn't have power, so they were closed. Go to the store. I'm like, okay, well, they have backup generators. I know because I used to work at one of the stores there, so we can at least get some milk and so we can do something for food because your refrigerator's out. And I wasn't as smart then because I was in my 20s.
Sure.
I'm like, I didn't know that I could not have power to my refrigerator and it would stay cold for hours. I didn't know that.
Right.
So we're coming home, and as you're driving along the highway, because of the way the house was set up, you could see the house from the highway. And I always look over to see my house before I make it into the actual housing development. There's a fucking tree on my house.
Oh, no.
Like a big tree. 3.5 feet in diameter at the base. At this point, I'm no longer doing the speed limit as I come down and sidewinds like drift into my driveway in my little gold Chevy Cavalier. And I look at the house and I literally just hit my knees right in the parking lot and just started crying because I knew the house was totaled.
Sure.
I call my husband, scream crying. He's like, he couldn't understand what was going on. He just knew something was wrong and that he had to get to me. The neighbors are already out at this point trying to console me. And I'm beyond consoling at this point. I call it divine intervention because we were just putting up plastic in the windows because we needed to keep it insulated. We couldn't afford the difference in security deposit to get a new place. And it was just not a great place. It was my husband's bachelor pad before I moved in. So it wasn't meant to be more than what it was. And we had renter's insurance. So renter's insurance, because we had it, paid for the difference in security deposit, paid for us to move into another house, paid us an hourly wage and moving supplies to move our own things, replaced everything that we lost. It was a miracle. And we stayed in the house that we moved into until we moved to Colorado. I'm like a half an hour out of the entire day that no one was home. that tree came down on the house. It missed the shed that was housing our motorcycles by about a foot.
Wow.
We had 3 motorcycles in there. And the way that it came down, it came into the master bedroom. The only thing that stopped it from completely severing the back half of the house was the center beam of the house, which is crazy. You have this tree that's now laying across the back of the house. The door that used to close into the bedroom, like open into the bedroom, the master bedroom, now closed out, like it would open out.
What kind of tree was it?
I don't know. Washington has so many trees.
Okay.
It is called the Evergreen State.
Yeah, right.
It's a big tree.
Okay.
And I think it had been weakened because they had done some highway work previously, a couple years earlier. So I think all those trees that didn't used to be exposed were now exposed.
Okay.
But it came up roots and all.
Oh, wow.
You could stand where the roots were. What was even more terrifying for me is because I had gotten up to take my son to preschool because I was a bartender at the time. So I'm usually in bed during the day. The siding, because where it hit on the side of the house was where the head of our bed was. And the siding was stabbing through my pillow.
Oh, wow.
The only thing we lost was the headboard. We couldn't, recover that. We were paid for replacing the furniture, but the type of furniture that it was, the water sprinkling that was on it, kind of added to it. So we kept it.
Wow.
Kept the money.
Yeah.
That's nice.
This is kind of the cool thing about military life. The word went out through the command that there was an incident, and people started showing up at my house. Ooh, I'm gonna cry. People started showing up at my house that I didn't even know. And myself and another woman, we were the only ones that could fit into the room because the way that the ceiling had come down. We actually had to low crawl on our bellies under that low spot to get into the room. And we were loading everything because the rain is coming in, this hole in the roof. It actually knocked stuff off the walls in the other end of the house is how hard it hit.
Wow.
And so we were loading everything into bags or baskets, laundry baskets. And we would slide them under the ceiling that was down to the men. And there was just this chain of people that I didn't know, taking care of everything to the other end. People help us move.
That's awesome.
That's that's military life for you.
That's humanity. You know what I mean? Like when you're in bad time and just like people show up and do the right thing and are good people, it restores your faith.
Sure. Yeah. And so I call it divine intervention because at that moment I felt God reach down and say, I'm going to help you get out of this situation. We really didn't lose anything. I mean, we lost a headboard.
Sure.
I would have lost my life had I been home, but 30 minutes out of the entire day that no one was home. And that's when the tree comes down. Right. So no one was hurt because my husband was already at work because he was active duty at the time. And then, putting plastic in your windows to help with insulation, that's a humbling experience.
Right.
And we got a really nice stick-built home in a really nice neighborhood that we lived in again until we moved to Colorado.
Right. That's cool.
Yeah.
So the house was...
It was done. They ended up having to demolish it. It sat for a long time because it was a rental, and they couldn't afford it, and it just sat for a really long time. And I remember the rental company. Ooh, I remember the rental company. I called them, and I'm upset. And at this, I had regained some composure, but I had that "don't F with me" tone.
Sure.
And I called them, and I said, we're going to need another rental. We're going to need some help with this. And she says, well, you'll just have to call back later because we're not open right now. We don't have power. And I was like, I don't think you fucking heard me. There is a tree on my house and I can't live there. So you're going to need to help us. And then about 20 minutes later, the manager called me.
So did you stay in a hotel?
We did. And that was the other thing. The renter's insurance paid for us to live in a hotel until a rental was secured and our things were moved into it.
Isn't renter's insurance like $14 a
month
or something like that?
And when you call me, like, there's a tree in the middle of my house. Turns out we're not Ewoks, so that's not supposed to be there. It's the strangest thing, of course.
Right. I actually,
I'm not a fan.
I sold insurance here in Colorado for State Farm for a little while. I love State Farm. I love insurance in general, but I don't care who you're with. You need to have renter's insurance. It is really, truly inexpensive. And my story should resonate with anyone that this is really...
I don't think many people that rent actually think about that, though.
They don't.
No.
When I was 20-something in apartments in Pueblo, I didn't have renters. I didn't have car insurance, but I had a car. You know what I mean? This is where the big layer was at the time. Don't do that, by the way. That's not... Don't ever do that. But
very bad.
very bad. So.
Well, it's a military base, so pretty much everything is rental. So rentals insurance was pushed hard out there because everything's a rental.
But then again, I think if you're going to be a landlord, that's something you should also say, hey, you should have rental, because if this breaks, I'm not paying for nothing. That's on you there, Slick. So
I didn't realize it covered that much.
Yeah,
it covers a lot. It really, really does. I mean, I obviously haven't had to use it in a long time because I've owned a home for a while, but it was really just an amazing thing to see that happen and to have such a nice home out of it.
Yeah.
Right.
Sometimes those insurance claims are a blessing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Dance, what do you think about that story?
It's a pretty good story. I mean,
You got a clear-cut one in your head of what you want to pick? I kind of do.
do you?
I'll tell you what. Those are 3 very well told stories.
Very well told.
You're hard to read.
Uh-huh.
You know?
And you got emotional on the last one, so then I was going to go with it, but then I don't know. I was like,
Well, we got a paper, rock, scissors to see who... this is how we get down.
That's
Allison, how do you paper, rock, scissors?
So it's 1, 2, 3, go.
You're a dirty 4-pumper. Okay.
That's the way it goes.
Oh, that's right. You're a dirty 4-pumper too.
I am.
Surrounded by disgustingness. Okay, so here's where we pick, and if you're at home, this is where you pick. So we used to do this differently. Now we do it. I've changed the format, so this is all done in the same episode. We used to, when this first came out before COVID stopped it, we would do this, and then you'd have to come back the next week to find out. But I don't know if people like this better. This way better.
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to go 4
All
pumps.
right.
Ready?
Moose wins.
That's like the 4th one in the world. I'm getting better at this.
Good job. Good job.
I'm glad, because this one's tough. So I'm super waiting to see what you pick. So.
Oh, I have to go first?
Yeah, because I won there, loser. Of course you go first.
This is like the coin toss. He
You
gets to defer. He's deferring to you.
That's right. So the 3 stories.
I'm feeling like a biker and a shotgun is the real deal. And because Broken Baby, again, it was the first one, and I had my theory on that, but now I was like, well, I don't know. Divine Intervention, you had a lot of detail, and it's obviously made you emotional.
So the 3 stories we are trying to choose from are Divine Intervention, a biker and a shotgun, and the Broken Baby.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to have to go against what I had originally thought. I think I'm going to go with Broken Baby because the other ones just seem so believable. Mm-hmm. And in my head, I'm like, I wonder if somebody had told you the story. So like you kind of like stole it for something to say. I don't know. Because in my head, the other 2 just seem believable.
Right.
I'm in. I believe them. I'm in.
I was also leaning towards Broken Baby, although
that's
a ballsy move, Alison Gorrell.
Yeah,
it's a ballsy move.
I even said, who lies about a baby being sick?
Right. And he's going to watch this and be like, Dad, is my ass telescoping?
Yeah.
Put that on the doctors. They're like, if you had any previous problems, well, I had an asshole that telescoped. I don't know what that means, but Mom was upset about it. But I'm not going to go with Broken Baby. I'm going to go with Divine Intervention.
Yeah.
I mean, that one, you got a little emotional, but I think you might have been doing some acting there. That's what
Is she that good?
I don't know. We're going to find out. If it might be a biker and a shotgun, because we went through like 3 weeks in a row where the guests beat us both. It was unheard of, man. Like Jen Neb, I love you, Jen Neb, but her and I are horrible at this together. We do not make a good team at all. Although Jen's great. I love Jen. She's so great.
Me too.
So,
do you guys ever pick the same one?
Yes, it's happened a few times. The first time we beat somebody together, actually beat Carrie together, but he gave it to us. Yeah. Terry Barton Gregg, we actually picked the same one. She had 3 great stories too. I can't remember. There was something she gave away in one of the stories, and it was like, so Adam and I, it's the first time we ever picked together.
Okay.
So she was the Hall of Shame for us. I love you too, Terry Barton Gregg, but yeah, we beat your ass. So
which one are you going with?
I'm going to go with a Divine Intervention, and you're going to go with Broken Baby.
Yeah.
Alison Gorrell, pull out that board. Let's see what's going on.
Drum roll, please.
Yeah.
Yep. Broken baby, son of a gun.
Oh.
I'm not going to give you... Okay, all right, I'll show you the love. So how is that not a true story?
So it's actually mostly true.
Okay.
It's mostly true, and I saved it because the truth is going to make you laugh.
Okay. You had the telescoping ass.
No.
It was a real telescope.
So it really was a broken baby, and we did go to Children's, and they really did think he had intussusception, and that was the trick. As I said, they thought he had intussusception. They got the X-ray, and it turned out that my poor little baby was full of shit.
He was constipated.
He had a bowel impactment that was all the way up into his chest cavity.
Oh.
And Matthew and I mean, they gave him everything. They gave him medications. They gave him suppositories. Like, they gave him everything. And we were just beat. This has been 18 hours at Children's Hospital.
Right.
And the nurse comes to take him because it's Children's Hospital. They have playtime. They take the kids so the parents can rest. And so Matthew and I were sleeping, and the nurse had him. And that's when the floodgates opened.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, good.
So I didn't have to deal with it.
Nice.
I felt really bad for the nurse,
Poor
though.
I wouldn't have. They get paid for that.
That's right. That's right. How much did he weigh at the time, you think?
Oh, I don't remember, but I'm pretty sure he lost probably a good 2-3 pounds that day.
Well,
Easily.
the other part of it is, it's
That's
like,
like good.
it's such a, what do I want to say, intricate thing. Like, it's a word I've never even heard of it. I didn't
Right.
know it was a thing. So then
I didn't know it was a thing until that
wow.
day.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can't just make that up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So, and he's had a lot of trouble with it ever since. So he does have IBS, and he's had multiple x-rays done, and I could show you multiple x-rays recently where it's still all the way up, and we have to really watch what he eats, and he has to take Miralax pretty regularly, and just kind of have to keep an eye on him. Unfortunately, he gets it from his mother. So I have to watch what I eat as well.
Yeah.
So, go ahead.
Well, we when Cabry was little, my second oldest, she was like 6 months old, and we went up to Estes Park for like softball tournament, and she got plugged up or whatever you want to say, and I didn't know what was wrong. You know, she just kept, like what you're saying, crying. So we took her to the hospital, and they ended up doing something for her to like relieve the pressure. And Rick always said that hospital thing was $100 a fart. After that, yeah.
Thank God for military insurance.
Those are 3 great stories, Allison. Before we go, and I plug everything, I do want to ask you about something and talk about you starting a business.
I am.
I want to talk about that real quick before we go. I know we're running a little late here. That's okay, though. What are you trying to start?
So it's a multifaceted business. It's called Creatively Charmed Crafts and Candies, and I'm trying to start it right here in downtown Brush. I'm just trying to find a location, but the business concept was built around craft consignment because I'm a crafter, and there are so many crafters here in the community who create things, but they have to wait until vendor events come up for them to be able to sell their stuff. So a store year-round where they could sell their stuff would be fantastic. So that's kind of where the concept started, but I do have a degree. I am somewhat smart when it comes to business. I realized that I cannot maintain a business on craft consignment alone, so I built on that. And so we would also be doing crafting classes. The crafting classes would not be taught just by myself. They would be taught by other people as well, so that you're getting lots of different types of crafting experience.
So is it going to be a thing, Allison, like I never tried this before, but like where you all do like the painting and stuff?
It's similar, but no painting because I suck at painting. Bless those who paint.
Okay.
But similar.
But that's kind of what you're going to do.
Yeah.
It's like a bunch of girls' night out. You can,
We're
like
actually going to do
friends.
multiple different types of classes, like Mommy and Me. We'll have kid-specific classes. We'll even have kits where you can come into the store if you just want to come in on your own and have a little bit of time away. And then addition to that, and something that I think we really kind of need, something fun, is a candy store. So we would be doing candy by the pound. It's old time, in a jar. It's just free serve, which we would probably serve it right now because of COVID restrictions. And then also we would be doing balloons and gift wrapping.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So Allison, people who want to check this out more, where can they go?
Facebook. Right now we're just on Facebook. It's Creatively Charmed Crafts and Candies. There's a Facebook page that's been created. If you do just Creatively Charmed, that will take you to my personal crafting page, but Creatively Charmed Crafts and Candies.
So on the bullhucker.com, on Allison's page, I'll put a link.
Okay.
So if you check out Alison Gorrell's page on the bullhucker.com, where you can find all our stuff, a link to find you have social media, Facebook, do you have Instagram?
So I have Instagram on that one. These are all like personal accounts, but the Instagram one ties to my crafting business, and that one is Charmed Butterfly, and that is butterfly with 1 T.
Okay. So, because there's one L in Allison. You're just going to go for all the whole crazy. I love it. But we'll put all the links up on there. So if you want to check out Allison's stuff, or you're a crafter and you want to get a hold of her, or, try and make this work, because they're still in the planning phase of this, right?
Actually, we have a fully complete business plan. What we're looking for right now is a backer.
Okay.
That's what we're looking for, because COVID hit us hard. My husband and I were laid off 3 times in 2020, and one of those was 20 minutes apart.
That sucks.
Yeah. And of course the bank's like, well, you can't personally back this. And we're like, well, of course we can't personally back it.
Right.
But the bank did love the business plan. Many people have loved the business plan. It is solid. It's already built. Thank God I have a degree, because that kind of helps me be able to do that. So we're really just looking for a backer.
So if we can make that happen, that'd be awesome, So
investors, possibly you.
Please.
So check out Alison Gorrell, bullhucker.com. Make sure and the links will be up there, so you can get a hold of Allison. You can talk to her about whatever, if you're interested, or whatever not you want to do. Also, if you're on Facebook, make sure you like our page. On Instagram, follow us. If you're on YouTube, please make sure you hit that subscribe button and the little bell. That'll give you a notification on when we put out new videos every Tuesday. So please make sure you support the show. It's a little click on YouTube for you. It's a big click for us. So please check it out. Dencia, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
This was fun.
Thank you.
That's why I like Dencia, because we're both attention whores. We get along well. You know what I'm saying? We laugh at each other's jokes. It's sad, really. But
it is. It's
Allison,
a weird relationship.
Thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's nice meeting you.
You guys have made me smile so much my face hurt. So thank you for having me.
And good luck with the plan. So
thank you.
all right. See you guys. Peace.